The sky over Neuralis 3 was dark and quiet, filled with stars. The planet had 2 moons, and both were full tonight. Captain Elias Rowan stood outside his metal shelter, drinking a cup of hot tea. He was alone, just like every other night since he left Earth's fleet. Life was peaceful here. He worked as a salvager now, collecting scrap from old ships and selling parts to traders. But tonight, something was different. A loud sound broke the silence. It was like thunder, but sharper, like something tearing through the sky. Elias looked up and saw a bright light falling fast from the stars. It was not a meteor, it was a ship hand. It was crashing. The ship hit the mountains in the distance with a loud boom. Flames lit up the sky. Smoke rose like a black snake into the air. Elias dropped his cup and ran inside, grabbed his old gear, a flashlight, a blaster just in case, and his backpack. Then he jumped onto his hoverbike and sped toward the crash. The journey was rough. Wind blew hard through the rocky path, and small fire sparks floated in the air. After 30 minutes, Elias reached the wreck. The ship was small, maybe an escape pod or a scout vessel. Most of it was destroyed, but the cockpit was still glowing from inside. Elias carefully stepped closer, holding his blaster in one hand. He looked through the broken glass and froze. Inside was a girl. She was not human. Her skin was pale blue with silver lines that glowed softly in the dark. Her hair floated like silk, and her eyes closed had long silver lashes. She was hurt. Blood, or something like it, was on her forehead. Her suit was torn, and her breathing was weak. Elias had seen many alien species in his past, but never one like this. He acted fast. He opened the cockpit and gently pulled her out. She groaned, but did not open her eyes. Her body was light, almost weightless, like a bird's. He wrapped her in his coat and placed her on the bike. "Hang on," he whispered, even though she couldn't hear him. "You're not dying tonight." Back at the shelter, Elias laid her on his bed. He started cleaning her wounds using a medical kit. The strange glowing marks on her skin pulsed gently when he touched them, as if reacting to his presence. After an hour, her eyes opened slowly. She looked around, confused and frightened. When she saw Elias, she tried to sit up, but he stopped. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe here." She opened her mouth but said nothing. Then, slowly, she whispered something in a soft, melodic voice. "Sierra. My name, ... Sierra." Elias smiled a little. "Nice to meet you, Sierra. I'm Elias." She looked at him with wide, tired eyes. Then she whispered again, this time more urgently. "They're coming. Dangerous. Run." Elias frowned. "Who's coming?" Sierra closed her eyes, her face full of fear and pain. She said nothing more. Over the next 2 days, Sierra slowly healed. She could eat soft food and speak a few words in standard, the main language used in the galaxy. Elias learned that she was from a race called the Valeria, peaceful and mysterious species who lived far beyond human space. She had been on a mission, but her ship was attacked. She escaped, but didn't know where she had landed. Elias didn't ask too many questions. He knew what it was like to be hunted and afraid. He fixed a small translator chip to help her speak more easily. Sierra was shy but polite. She thanked Elias often and helped him around the shelter when she had strength. She seemed amazed by human things like hot tea, music, and fire. One evening, while watching the stars, she asked softly, "Why?" "Save me." Elias looked at her. "Because you needed help, even I'm not human?" He smiled a little. "Doesn't matter. Good people help those who need it." Sierra looked down, her glowing lines flashing slightly brighter. "You? Different." Elias didn't know what she meant, but he let it go. That night, a strange sound woke him up. Outside, he saw 3 small drones flying near the shelter. They were scanning the area. Not normal Scouts military grade. Elias cursed under his breath and grabbed his scanner. He tracked the signal. It wasn't local government. These drones were mercenary, Texalant, deadly, and expensive. Someone was looking for Sierra. He rushed back inside. Sierra was already awake, eyes wide with fear. "They found me," she said, in a small voice. Elias grabbed his gear. Then, we need to move now. Sierra nodded and stood, still weak, but determined. As they stepped into the cold night air, Elias looked at her. Can you ride? She nodded again. They got on the hoverbike and raced into the desert, leaving behind the shelter, the fire, and the peaceful life. Elias didn't know where this road would take them, but he knew one thing for sure: he was not letting her fall into their hands again. The cold desert wind hit their faces as the hoverbike sped through the night. Elias kept one hand on the control and the other ready on his sidearm. Sierra held tightly behind him, her head resting lightly against his back. But her grip was steady. Behind them, small lights danced in the sky. The drones were following. They're not stopping, Elias said over his shoulder. We'll have to lose them in the canyon, Sierra nodded, her eyes glowing slightly in the dark. I can sense them. No minds. Just machines. Elias wasn't surprised. Many mercenaries used AI drones, cheap, silent, and fast. The canyon was close now. Jagged rocks rose like broken teeth from the ground. Elias slowed slightly, guiding the bike through the narrow path. The walls blocked the sky, cutting off the drone's view. For now, they were safe. They stopped at a small cave hidden between sharp cliffs. Elias had used it before when he first came to Niralis 3. He helped Sierra off the bike and guided her inside. It was cool and dry, with a narrow opening that could be easily hidden. Sierra sat down slowly, breathing hard. Thank you. Elias placed a blanket around her shoulders. You need rest. I'll cover the entrance. He pulled out a camo-cloth net and draped it across the cave mouth. From outside, it now looked like just another rock wall. Back inside, Elias lit a small heat lamp and handed Sierra a protein bar. She took it gratefully. After a long silence, Elias sat beside her. Sierra, I need to know the truth. Who's after you? Sierra looked down, the soft lights on her skin dimming. Then, slowly, she spoke. I was sent as peace envoy to a neutral station. Our leaders wanted to stop war with Raksari, Dominion. I carried ancient treaty codes stored inside me. Elias raised his eyebrows. Inside you? She tapped her temple. Genetic memory key.
Out of Valari mind system.
I was chosen. Chosen for peace, and now you're being hunted. Sierra nodded. The council betrayed me. They feared Raksari. So they gave me away. I escaped during transport. My ship was damaged. I crashed. Elias shook his head. They sold you. Out to save themselves. Sierra looked at him. Now Raksari want the key. If they get it, war will come. Elias stood and began pacing. So you're telling me you carry something that could stop a war? Yes. And the people chasing you. They want to make sure that never happens. Yes. Elias rubbed his face. He had been through wars before. He had seen planets burn, cities fall, and friends die. And now, sitting beside him, was a girl who could stop another war, but only if she survived. He looked at her, and, we're going to make sure they don't find you. By morning, the drones had moved on. Elias checked his scanner, no signals nearby. They had a few hours, maybe more. We need to leave the planet, he said. I know someone who might help. Sierra blinked. Who, old friend? Dr. Leanne Voss used to work with Earthfleet. Now runs a deep listening station near the cliffs. If anyone can send your peace data to the right place, it's her. Sierra stood slowly, leaning on the wall. Then let's go. Elias smiled a little. You're stronger than you look. She gave a tiny smile back. You too. Traveled during the day, hiding when needed. The journey was hard, the sun was hot, and the land was rough. Sierra's strength returned little by little. Her calm voice made the trip easier. They talked sometimes about stars, music, Earth, and Valari traditions. Elias found her curious and kind. Sierra found him brave and honest. One afternoon, as they rested under a rock arch, Sierra looked at him quietly. You were soldier? Elias nodded. Long ago. Why stop? He paused, looking at the sky. Too many lost. Didn't want to fight anymore. Sierra looked down a bit. Now, You protect me. Elias smiled slightly. Maybe I'm still a soldier, just for the right reason. That night they reached the edge of a long cliff valley. In the distance, a small building stood, half hidden by rocks. A few towers blinked. With red lights, that's the place, Elias said. But before they could move, a sharp sound filled the air a shot. The ground near their feet exploded. Dirt and dust flew everywhere. Down, Elias shouted, pulling Scifi to the ground. From the cliffside, 3 figures appeared, bounty hunters in dark armor. One had a plasma rifle. The others moved fast, surrounding them. "Give us the girl," the lead hunter shouted. "I'll let you walk." Elias stepped in front of Scifi. "You'll have to go through me." The hunter laughed. "That can be arranged." He fired again, but Elias was ready. With swift motion, Elias rolled to the side and fired back. His shot hit one of the hunters, in the leg. Scifi focused hard, using her mind to send a sharp wave of confusion at another. The second hunter stumbled, falling, but the leader charged straight at Elias. They fought hard hand to hand. The hunter was strong, but Elias was trained. He blocked a punch, dodged a kick, and knocked the weapon away. Then, using a hidden blade, he cut the hunter's armor and pushed him back. The hunter groaned and ran, dragging his injured teammate with him. Elias turned to Scifi. "Are you okay?" She nodded, her eyes wide. "You fought like lightning." He laughed. It's been a while. It's been a while." They reached Dr. Lian's station just before sunrise. Dr. Voss was a short, serious woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. She opened the door and stared at Scifi. "Valari, huh? You sure know how to find trouble, Elias?" "She's more than trouble," he said. "She's carrying a message that can stop a war." I sighed. "Then let's not waste time." She led them inside, where machines hummed and screens glowed. "Uploading that data will make you both targets," Lian warned. "Are you sure about this?" Elias looked at Scifi. She nodded. "I am ready." Inside the listening post, the air felt tense. Soft lights blinked on control panels. Machines hummed quietly. It had been many years since Elias stepped into a place like this. It reminded him of war days, cold walls, heavy silence and quiet. Danger, Dr. Lian Voss walked ahead, leading Scifi and Elias to the command room. Scifi looked around with curiosity. Her glowing skin reflected faintly off the metallic walls. "This is the safest place I could bring you," Elias said softly. To her, Scifi nodded. "It feels still, like peace before a storm." Elias knew what she meant. They weren't out of danger yet. It's not even close. Dr. Lian stopped in front of a tall chair connected to a circular device. "This is a neural uplink," she said. "It can read your memory patterns. If what Elias says is true, your data will appear here." Scifi looked at the machine. "Will it hurt?" "Maybe a little. But I'll keep it stable," Lian replied. "Once the data is out, we can transmit it through deep space relays. It'll reach the diplomatic corps on Earth within minutes." Scifi stepped forward and sat in the chair. "I'm ready." Lian placed a thin band over her head. Small lights. Blinked green dot. Elias stood beside her. "You don't have to do this alone." Scifi looked up at him with soft eyes. "I'm not alone." As the machine started, Scifi's eyes closed. Her mind entered a deep, silent space. The screen beside the chair lit up with symbols. Maps and Codsvalar language mixed with old diplomatic records. Hidden deep in her memory was a genetic code. It wasn't just data. It was a key, a living code once used by ancient civilizations to start or stop interstellar treaties. Lian leaned closer. This is real. She's not lying. This could stop a war before it starts." Suddenly, the screen flashed red. Elias looked at Lian. "What is it?" "We have a signal breach," Lian said, her voice tense. "Someone found us."
Outside.
Motion sensors activated. Cameras showed a black ship landing near the cliff. "Mercenaries again?" Elias asked. "No, worse," Lian said. "That's Raxari design. They're here." Elias cursed under his breath. "How did they find us?" "So fast, they must have tracked her neural frequency," Lian said. They're probably here to destroy the data before it can spread. Elias grabbed his weapon. I'll hold them off. Keep the upload going. Sierra opened her eyes. She looked dizzy, but alert. I'll help, no, Elias said firmly. You stay here. But Sierra reached for his arm. I can protect you. My mind can slow them. He paused. He didn't want her hurt. But she was brave and strong in her own way. Fine, he said, but stay behind me. Outside, the wind picked up. Dust swirled around as the black ship opened. 3 Raxari soldiers stepped out, tall, armored, and cold. Their skin was dark gray, their helmets glowing red. They carried plasma weapons and moved like shadows. Elias crouched behind a boulder near the station entrance. Sierra stayed close, her hands glowing softly. The first shot came faster, bright blue beam that burned through stone. Elias rolled to the side and returned fire. 1 Raxari went down, but 2 kept moving. Sierra focused her mind. The air shimmered. Around her, 2nd Raxari soldier slowed, blinking in confusion. His aim faltered. Elias took the shot-erect hit. The last enemy rushed forward, roaring in anger. Elias stood ready, but the creature was fast. Before it could strike, Sierra stepped forward, her eyes glowing bright. A wave of energy burst from her hands. Soldier dropped his weapon, falling to his knees, stunned. Elias finished the job. It was over. For now, back inside, Leanne had completed the data transfer. The peace code is ready, she said. I'm sending it now. Signal shot through, space encoded, protected, and unstoppable. Sierra sat down, breathing hard. We did it, Leanne nodded. If the Council accepts it, the war can be stopped. You've done something incredible, Sierra smiled. But her face showed sadness too. I only wanted peace. Elias knelt beside her. He gave the galaxy a chance. She looked into his eyes. Only because you saved me. Their moment was quiet, filled with deep meaning. 2 different worlds, now walking one path. Later that night, sat on the roof of the station, looking at the stars. Ira leaned against Elias, tired but calm. Do you think Earth will listen? They'll have to, Elias said. Data is too big to ignore. You're living proof that peace is possible. Sierra closed her eyes. I wish I could go there, to see your world. You will, Elias promised. After this, I'll take you. She looked at him, her voice soft. Why did you help me, Elias? Really? Like, looking up at the stars, 'cause you reminded me of what's worth fighting for. Smiled, then I'm glad I crashed. They both laughed quietly. Suddenly the radio crackled. Leon's voice came through. Elias. Sierra. You need to come see this. They ran inside. On the screen, a message was playing. The Earth Diplomacy Council had received the signal. Their response was clear. Message received. Treaty recognized. Awaiting ambassador. Sierra covered her mouth, tears in her eyes. It worked. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. You did it. No, she whispered. We did it. The stars above Neuralis 3 looked brighter than ever. Peace had not yet begun. But the first step had been taken. And at the center of it all stood a human man and the alien girl. He had saved no longer strangers, but something far deeper. Morning sunlight touched the mountains of Neuralis 3. The air was calm. But Elias Rowan's heart wasn't. Even though the peace signal had been sent, the danger wasn't over. Far from it, inside Dr. Leon Voss's station, Elias stood by the window. Watching the sky? Sierra sat nearby, wrapped in a silver cloak. Her eyes were brighter today, but worry still lived in them. The message worked, she said softly. But the Raxari won't stop. Not completely. Elias nodded. They know you're still alive. That means you're still a target. Leanne entered the room, carrying a small device. The Earth Council has sent a reply. They're preparing a rescue team, but it could take days to reach us. We don't have days, Elias said. The Raxari could return any time. Eris stood. Slowly, then we move. We can't wait. Elias looked at her with quiet respect. I agree. They gathered in the command room. Maps and signals appeared on the screen. "There's an old outpost," Leanne said, pointing at the map. "About 200 kilometers east. It has a functioning quantum beacon. If you activate it, Earth can lock onto your position and send a transport instantly. But it's not guarded," Ilya said. "We'll be crawling with bounty hunters by now." Leanne nodded. "Probably. That's why we'll need a decoy." Ilyas crossed his arms. "You mean someone stays back?" Leanne shrugged. "Or someone fakes a second signal. Pull their eyes in the wrong direction." "I'll go to the outpost with Sierra," Elias said without hesitation. Sierra touched his hand gently. "You always choose the harder path," he smiled. "Maybe I just choose the right one." The plan was simple on paper. Elias and Sierra would travel on foot for part of the journey to avoid detection. Leanne would send a false signal from her station, leading any trackers away from the real beacon. Before they left, Leanne handed Sierra a small crystal. "This holds your full data copy. If anything happens to you, the information can still be used." Sierra nodded. "Thank you for believing me." Leanne gave a small smile. "I don't believe easily, but I believe in what I saw." They left. Just before sunset, the desert looked endless as they walked. Soft red dust rose with each step. The silence between Elias and Sierra wasn't uncomfortable. It was deep, like they both understood each other without words. "How far now?" Sierra asked. "About 160 kilometers, Elias replied. "We'll rest in a cave I used during my early days here. It's safe." Sierra walked beside him quietly. After a while, she said, "You never asked me what I'll do if we make it." Elias looked at her. "What will you do?" She looked up at the stars. "I'll speak to the galaxy. Maybe not as a leader, but as someone who saw both fear and kindness." Smiled softly. "That's enough to change worlds." Later, they reached the cave. Inside, Elias built a small fire using heat stones. Sierra sat near it, warming her hands. She looked at him. "Are you afraid?" He thought about it. "Not for me, for you. I'm not afraid," she said, "because you're with me." Elias looked at her glowing face. "Sierra, I've seen a lot in my life, but nothing like this, nothing like you." She tilted her head gently. "Saved me more than once." He chuckled. "You've saved me too." It reminded me what it means to care. A long moment they just sat there. Firelight flickered between them. Then Sierra whispered, "If I don't survive," Elias cut her off. "Don't say that, you will." She reached out and gently touched his hand. "Then promise you'll stay with me until the end." "I promise," he said. And after that too, the next day they approached the beacon site. It stood tall an old metal tower with satellite dishes and blinking lights. Around it were broken buildings and sand-covered roads. Long ago, this had been a busy research base. Now it was silent. "Looks clear," Elias said, scanning the area. But Sierra shook her head. "Someone is watching." Elias raised his blaster. "We go in fast. No noise." They moved quickly. Sierra stayed low, while Elias checked every corner. Inside the main control room, the beacon's core still glowed with power. Elias handed Sierra a small tablet. "Just like Leanne said, plug the crystal here. It'll activate the signal." Sierra nodded and stepped toward the beacon. Suddenly a figure appeared in the doorway, holding a weapon. It was a bounty hunter, tall, masked, and dangerous. "Steps away from the console," the hunter ordered. Elias aimed his blaster. "You step away from her." The hunter laughed. "She's worth more than this whole station. Don't make me destroy you both." Sierra stood firm. "I will not run anymore." The hunter raised his weapon, but Sierra closed her eyes. A wave of bright energy burst from her hands, pushing the hunter backward. His weapon flew from his grip, and Elias moved fast, striking him down. The room fell silent again. Sierra walked to the console and inserted the crystal. The beacon began to glow brighter. Soft humming sound filled the air. Elias watched the sky through the window. "Earth will find us now." Sierra turned to him. Her face showed both joy and sadness. "We made it." Moments later, the air shimmered. A blue portal opened outside the building. A human starship arrived. Dearth Rescue. Elias looked at Scifi. Time to go home, she smiled. Together? He nodded. Always. As they stepped through the light, the stars above seemed closer than ever. The Earth rescue ship hummed softly as it flew through the stars. It was fast, strong, and silent, just like the people inside it. Elias sat near the viewing window, looking at the galaxy pass by. Eyes were on someone else. Scifi. She stood a few feet away, looking out another window. Her silver blue hair shimmered under the soft ship lights. She had changed into clean medical robes, but her glowing skin still held the same quiet beauty. She didn't speak much since they left, near Alice-3, and Elias understood everything had happened so fast. The battle, the beacon, the rescue. Now they were flying through safety, but her mind was still full of worry. The ship's captain, Commander Juno, entered the room. She was tall, serious, and dressed in a dark uniform. "You both did something incredible," she said. Elias nodded. "But the job's not finished yet," Scifi turned toward them. "Will the Earth Council listen to me?" "They have to," Juno said. "Your message reached every allied world. Right now, leaders are preparing a summit. You're being taken there as a guest of honor." Sierra lowered her head. "I never wanted to be honored. I only wanted peace." "And sometimes," Juno replied, "the ones who don't want power are the ones who use it best." Later, Elias found Scifi sitting alone in the observation room. He sat beside her, quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. "You've been silent." Scifi looked at him with soft eyes. "I feel like a piece of the stars, floating." "You're not alone anymore," he said. She smiled gently. "You've stayed with me through all of this, even when I was weak, even when I was hunted." "I promised," Elias said, "and I don't break promises." Scifi looked into his eyes, and for a moment she didn't speak. Then she reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were cool, but calming. "I do not understand all your human words," she whispered, "but my heart feels full." Elias squeezed her hand. "Sometimes words are not enough." The ship arrived at the orbital Earth station 2 days later. From the viewing glass, Scifi saw Earth for the first time. Blue, white, and green, beautiful and alive. "It's more peaceful than I imagined," she said softly. Elias smiled. "It's home. It has its problems, but we fight to protect the good parts." As the docking bay opened, a group of officials waited to greet them. Scifi looked nervous. "You don't have to face them alone," Elias said. She nodded. "But I must speak with them. Not just for me, for every voice that was silenced." He gently touched her shoulder. "You're stronger than any warrior. I've known." She looked up at him, and for a brief second, her emotions spilled over. Without thinking, she leaned in and placed a gentle kiss on his cheek. "Thank you, Elias," she whispered. Elias froze for a heartbeat, then smiled. "Let's go make history." The Peace Summit was held in the Earth Council Tower. It was the tallest building in the city. Reaching above the clouds, leaders from many planets were present: humans, Martians, Andari, and even some Valari elders. Scifi stood before them, all her calm voice echoing through the hall. I was cast away by my people. They feared peace would bring weakness. But I found strength in the kindness of one man, human, who saw me not as a threat but as someone worth saving. Cameras clicked. Screens showed her glowing form as she continued. Today, I ask you all not to believe me because I speak, but to believe in peace because it still matters. When she finished, the room fell silent. Then slowly, one by one, the leaders stood and began to clap. Not out of duty, but out of respect. After the summit, Scifi stood on a garden balcony, watching the sunset over Earth's oceans. She had done what she came to do. Elias walked beside her. "You were amazing," he said. She turned to him. "I only spoke from my heart. Like you taught me," he chuckled. "You didn't need me for that." Scifi looked into his eyes. "Yes, I did. You gave me courage when I had none." They stood quietly. Aaliyah carried the soft scent of flowers. Scifi stepped closer. "Elias, if I stayed, would you want me here?" Didn't answer with words. He just pulled her into a gentle embrace. "I was hoping you would," he whispered. That night, no grand speeches were needed. No promises had to be spoken aloud. Elias and Sierra sat beneath the stars, their hands intertwined. The war had been stopped before it began. A peace had bloomed not just between species, but between two hearts. They had saved each other in more ways than one, and sometimes that was more powerful than anything else in the galaxy. The days after the peace summit were filled with quiet excitement and careful planning. Earth's leaders worked closely with Valari representatives and other species to prepare for a new era. The ancient treaties Scifi carried had reopened. Old paths toward understanding, trust, and peace. But for Elias and Scifi, the world felt different. They were no longer just a pilot and an alien envoy. They were partners, two souls connected across the stars. On a bright morning, Scifi stood at the window of a starship docked at Earth's spaceport.
Outside, the blue planet spun slowly beneath them, alive and beautiful. Elias joined her quietly.
He held 2 cups of tea, warming his hands. "You look tired," he said gently. Scifi smiled softly. "This is all new to me. The voices, the hopes, the memories." He handed her a cup. "You've carried a heavy burden for a long time." She took a sip, then looked up at him. "Without you, I would have lost everything." Elias smiled. "You gave me a reason to keep going." They stood together, watching the clouds drift far below. The ship's captain entered, clearing his throat. "The council has arranged a mission. Sierra, they want you to lead a team to rebuild peace talks with the Raxari Dominion. Elias, you're invited to come along." Scifi's eyes widened. "I will go." Elias grinned. "I wouldn't miss it." They prepared for the journey with quiet excitement and careful thought. It would be dangerous negotiating with a race that once wanted to destroy them was no small task, but both believed it was possible. Days later, aboard a sleek diplomatic vessel, Elias and Scifi traveled toward Raxari space. The stars outside looked cold and distant. Scifi held the small crystal containing her genetic memory, the key to peace, in her hands. It glowed softly, a reminder of the journey she had taken. "I never thought I'd be here," she said quietly. "Facing those who hunted me." Elias squeezed her hand. "You're stronger than any fear." She looked at him, eyes shining. "Because you believed in me." Their ship entered Raxari's space under careful escort. The Raxari leaders waited in a massive chamber, tall and proud. Scifi stepped forward with calm courage. She spoke from her heart, telling them of the ancient treaties and the future that peace could bring. Her words were met with silence at first. Then, one by one, the Raxari began to nod. The ancient fears softened, replaced by hope. The council agreed to a ceasefire. A new dialogue began. After the meeting, Elias and Scifi stood on a balcony overlooking the stars. "You did it," Elias said. "You changed the course of history." Scifi smiled. "We did it." She looked at the glowing crystal. "This key was not just mine. It belonged to all who wished for peace. Elias wrapped his arm around her, and together, you and I carry that hope. Months passed. Across the galaxy, news spread of the human who saved a Valari envoy and the alien girl who gave peace a second chance. Their story became a symbol not just of courage, but of what was possible when different worlds chose to understand each. One evening, on a quiet Earth beach, Elias and Syra walked hand in hand. The sun set behind the mountains, painting the sky orange and pink. Syra looked at the waves. I am home now. Elias smiled. You always were. They sat down on the sand, watching the stars begin to appear. Syra leaned her head on Elias's shoulder. Thank you for saving me, she whispered. Elias kissed her forehead. Thank you for saving me too. In the vast galaxy, peace had found a new light. It shone brightest in the hearts of two very different beings who chose to believe in each other, and as long as that light burned, there was hope.